Men, the way that you thrust has a great deal of influence over not just how good sex is for your partner, but also how quickly you will find yourself finishing. Hi, I'm Caitlin B. I am a sex and relationship coach, and I give advice to men who want to last longer in bed, both here and on my Instagram at CaitlinVictoriousX. I'm here today to talk about 6 different thrusting techniques that you can utilize to help you last longer in bed and have your partner experience increased pleasure. And I'm going to present each of these to you as a either or. So we're going to put them all on a spectrum, and then you can choose where you are going to fall upon that spectrum at any given moment, depending on the outcome that you're trying to create during sex. You want her to orgasm faster, you want to delay your orgasm. I'll let you know where on the spectrum you should fall and when. Okay, let's dive on in. Number 1 thrusting technique that I want to talk about is the difference between back and forth and in and out. A lot of the times when we think about sex, we think about a in-out. Pardon me, I have to do it. In-out, because that's what we've been taught. That's how men typically think sex feels good. And that's a lot of what you might be doing that increases the odds that you're ejaculating more quickly than you want to. So instead of in-out, what about a back and forth motion? This motion of back and forth or grinding while maintaining the same depth of penetration is often preferred by female partners and people that have vulvas and G-spots and clitorises, because it actually can feel a lot better and more pleasant than a back and forth motion. It causes less friction. It allows us to squeeze using our pelvic floor muscles in order to increase stimulation and get us closer to orgasm. And it tends not to move a person who has a penis closer to orgasm to have that kind of stimulation back and forth instead of that in and out, which is very frictiony and generally causes a lot more skin to skin sensation on the penis. Technique number 2 is shallow versus deep thrusting. The majority of the nerve endings for the vagina are located actually within the first couple inches, and the G-spot is usually no more than 2.5 inches inside and to the front of the vagina. This means that if you are really going to pleasure a woman and bring her to orgasm through penetration, you actually do need to hang out in the first couple inches of the vagina, at least until she's had a couple orgasms, in which case deep thrusting will help to hit her anterior fornix and posterior fornix, or the A and P spot, the other P spot, not the prostate P spot. But if you have one of those, go check out the video I made about that. Before you get to deep thrusting though, shallow thrusts can be a really great way to help her to get to orgasm, and because the full length of your penis isn't being stimulated, it can feel good to you without causing you to go over the edge and erupt too soon. I was a volcano. You couldn't. It was like a volcano mixed with the sound of a T-Rex. Next, let's talk about the distinction between slow versus fast thrusting. Now, chances are good if you are watching this, you have also watched porn. And porn tends to be about 80 to 90% of fast thrusting. Very fast, actually, like it's almost mesmerizing. That is unnecessary for average person sex, completely unnecessary. And if I was to be the person who was on the receiving end of that, I would just straight tell you to stop, because actually fast thudding does not feel that good compared to slow grinding or thrusting in and out. Slow, purposeful, thoughtful, sensual. Not saying that fast doesn't have a time and a place. It absolutely does. When she's very close to orgasming, when you are very close to orgasming, that's when you get in there and start moving quickly. But there is no need. Actually, I would advise you entirely against moving very quickly until it's time to make faces. Actually, I do that. And then I one time saw it on camera, and now I try not to. What's next? Number 4. This one's going to be a little bit tricky, but this might be the most important of all of them. Clenched versus relaxed thrusting. Now, gentlemen, I am here to guarantee you, based off of my many years of working with you, that you are clenching a whole bunch of muscles that do not need to be clenched while you are thrusting. Chances are good that you are holding tension in your glutes, maybe even in your abs, and most definitely in your pelvic floor that you do not need to be holding in order to stay erect or to stay inserted or to make penetration feel good. The next time that you are penetrating, or even the next time that you're masturbating, watch where you clench. So perfect example is a guy who's on top in classic missionary position, and he's clenching his glutes and his pelvic floor as he thrusts in and out of his partner. Now compare him to a guy that has a relatively relaxed stance. He's not super clenching his glutes. He's not super clenching his pelvic floor. He's still achieving maximum penetration. Remember that you squeezing your glutes as hard as you can has no effect on whether or not you have an erection. That guy, the one that's relaxed, the second one in our example, he's gonna last longer 100% of the time, because the more relaxed that you are in your body, the less tension you have in your body, the less likely you are to climax too soon. This might be a good time for me to remind you that I actually made a whole masterclass on this exact subject, how to last longer in bed. And in it, I give you a specific series of exercises that will help you to figure out where you're clenching during sex and during masturbation. Even if you don't have a partner, you can absolutely figure this out so that the next time that you have sex, you can last as long as you want. This is probably the most crucial piece. Almost all other coaches miss this, and almost all people trying to end their premature ejaculation don't manage to fix this one thing. And if you could fix just this one thing, you can make a ton of headway into controlling your ejaculation. The link is in the description below. Number 5, ongoing versus with breaks. So this is not so much a thrusting technique as maybe like a style or a method of thrusting, but do you go constantly or do you take breaks? Do you thrust for a little bit and then switch positions? Do you thrust and then change up your technique and start grinding? You thrust fast and then you grind slowly. You switch and get into doggy style. And then when you notice that you're kind of getting into a rhythm, moving a little bit closer to your edge or almost ejaculating, you stop. You take a break. A lot of guys don't do this because they're terrified of losing their erection. But if you leave enough time for sex that you can lose your erection and then have enough time to get it back, which could be, 10 to 15 minutes. It's like not the end of the world. But I think a lot of guys are so fearful that if they lose their erection, sex is going to be over, their partner is going to be disappointed, she's going to not want to have sex anymore or walk away or something like that. Kind of unlikely. As long as you're a good lover, you're communicating to her, you're staying present with her during that time, you're going down on her, you're making out with her. Most women don't mind taking a break from sex unless they don't want to be having sex to begin with, in which case they probably do want you to get over with as quickly as possible. So why do you even care to change the thrusting thing? We got to talk about why it is that she doesn't want you to last longer to begin with. But I digress. So taking breaks and changing up the pattern regularly will help you from getting mesmerized, because you're like tap, 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 mesmerizing. And it's mesmerizing for her, and it may actually cause her to start zoning out and not feeling as much because of the percussive, regular nature of the thrust if you're not changing it up. So change it up, take breaks. Don't be worried about losing your erection. If for some reason it goes away, it can always come back. It's very unlikely that that's going to be your very last erection that you ever have. And if so, none of the rest of this matters anyway. So still all good. And here we go. Number 6 is hard versus gentle thrusting. Again, porn causes a lot of men to have the misconception that women are looking for very hard thrusting. And again, sometimes that is what's wanted, especially if she's like right on the edge of having a deep vaginal or cervical orgasm. She might encourage you to go very hard and hit her as deep as possible. And by the way, when I say hard, I mean like pushing into her. It's not got anything to do with like how frequently you're doing it, and it doesn't have as much to do with like just deep in general, because you could be thrusting deep but staying deep, so you're only moving out, in and out, in and out, and out. I'm talking about pull back and go in hard and far to the back. There's another joke there, but it's not present, so if it comes up, I'll share it. Yeah, hard thrusts. They can feel good. They certainly feel good. If I'm close to having a very deep orgasm, that could be a desirable thing. But there's no reason to start there, and there's no reason to visit there too often. Most women need like 20 to 30 minutes of being aroused and being stimulated before they even reach orgasm. And even in that case, she may not be so turned on that deep penetrative thrusting that's very hard actually feels good for her. This is one of the most common pieces of bad advice that I see given by my male colleagues on the internet. You know, a lot of them aren't married. They haven't been in a long-term relationship with a woman. So if you're having sex with a woman for the first time and she's really into it, this like hard thrusting may work. If you've been dating someone for a year and you're having a quickie in a bathroom somewhere, this technique may work. But if you've been with your partner, maybe she's had children, maybe you've been married for 20 or 30 years at this point, you only really need to use that hard thrusting to get her over the edge or to bring yourself over to having an orgasm. Otherwise, gentle thrusting feels probably better for her. And it will prevent you from being overstimulated too much, too fast, and going over the edge. Now, all of these techniques require you to have intimate knowledge of where your edge is. And if you're not familiar with where your point of no return, your point of ejaculatory inevitability is, then I 10 out of 10 recommend that you check out my course, Come When You Want. It is designed to help you step by step fix your premature ejaculation. It's 98% effective at ending premature ejaculation, and it comes with a money-back guarantee, so you really can't go wrong. I highly recommend that you check it out. Take these 6 thrusting techniques that I just laid out for you. Was that 6? Did I do 7? We did back and forth, fast and slow, shallow and deep, clenched and relaxed, consistent and taking breaks, and hard versus gentle. Yep, that was 6. There we go. There you have it. 6 different thrusting techniques to help you delay your own orgasm and help your female partner to have an orgasm through penetration. Now, if you are super invested in getting her to have an orgasm through penetration, you also have to check out my free guide called 3 Techniques to Wow Her in the Bedroom. I designed them so that you can use these 3 techniques to either give her an orgasm, or just get her super close to having an orgasm before you penetrate, so that she is more likely to scream and moan and call out your name and bring down the house once you are inside of her. All right, that's it from me. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you here next week. Bye. I forgot to say like and subscribe. We used to please say like. Please do like and subscribe. Also, please leave me a comment. If you like this video,